The stock market made hefty gains in 2024. Joining us now from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange is Michael Reinking. He's senior market strategist at the New York Stock Exchange. Perfect timing to have you here. Looking back on 2024, what were some of the top market moments? And my guess is AI will be on that list.
You're absolutely correct. And when you look back at 2024, I think the thing that stands out to me the most is that we've had a really strong gains in U.S. markets. It's the second consecutive year we saw major U.S. indices up over 10%. Right. So there are four things that I really think helped propel markets higher last year. First, that AI revolution. So we'd seen so much capital spending and investing in kind of that technology infrastructure and data center build outs, which has really kind of helped create jobs, help the U.S. economy remain very resilient. And we continue to see the consumer has also kind of held up really well and continues to spend. And that's all happening, despite the fact that we're coming off a 2-year period that has been one of the most aggressive tightening cycles that we've seen since at least the 1980s by the Federal Reserve. And they have now pivoted and are starting to cut rates. We've seen 75 basis points of rate cuts, starting in September, and that is going to help kind of the Main Street and the consumer as we start to see interest rates moving lower on mortgages, auto loans, credit cards, right? And they're cutting those interest rates into a economy that remains, very strong. So that's going to help to preserve, kind of that economic backdrop. And then lastly, I think, the last big catalyst of the year was the election in November, right? We did come out of that. And we've removed that overhang, and that is creating some optimism, that we could potentially see kind of lower taxes, a pro-growth, business-friendly business environment, right? And that sets us up well for 2025.
What sectors stood out this year, and which ones should investors watch as we head into 2025?
When you look back at 2024, I mean, the companies and stocks that had really performed the best were those AI-related companies, and I call them the kind of the picks and shovels of that industry. Companies making semiconductors, GPUs, server stacks, investing in that data center infrastructure. But we have started to see that trade evolve, right? We're starting to see software companies benefit, and investors are really paying very close attention in terms of how management teams are messaging that AI strategy going forward, in terms of how they're going to innovate, become more productive, more profitable. One other industry that I think is really exciting for your audience and for us here at the New York Stock Exchange is the financials, right? And with this kind of pro-growth business environment and potentially a better regulatory environment, right? There is this expectation that we could see capital markets activity begin to pick up. From our seat here at the New York Stock Exchange, working with those innovators and entrepreneurs and business leaders, right? We're able to help them raise that capital to go out and change the world.
Good to get your views on the market and the economy. We hope to have you back. Happy holidays.
Thanks for having me, and have a happy holiday.